toxic people and their impact on you. Now, I think it's fair to say that a lot of us are aware that there are certain selfish people out there. There are psychopaths, there are sociopaths, there are narcissists, and there are some people who are almost evilly selfish, but they don't quite fit the categories of narcissism or sociopath, or hopefully not psychopath, despite them all being very hard and difficult people to deal with. And there's a difference between maintaining and protecting your boundaries. Now, when you're maintaining your boundaries, things are likely to just, you'll tick over. There'll be the odd blip. There'll be days which are better than others. But on the whole, the likelihood is that you kind of do a little dance with the individual or the individuals that you're either working with or that you live with or that you're in close proximity with on a regular basis. However, there will be times when you actually move from maintenance to protecting your boundaries. And this is where the issue lies with a lot of people. When you go into protection mode, so somebody's overstepped the line again, they've said something again, or they've hurt you in some way again. And this isn't about you being a victim. This is about somebody taking almost aggressive, or what I do. Nobody's evil, but there are some types of evil behavior out there. And this is about somebody taking very negative steps towards you that are going to hurt you physically or mentally, emotionally, or everything, hurt you on every level. And when you go into protection mode, you might, depending on how you've protected your boundaries, so you may have had an outburst, you've cleared the air, and that can be really helpful. Because although the individual is likely to be very defensive towards you, possibly aggressive, probably not physically, because a lot of narcissistic, selfish behavior is very passive aggressive. Same with sociopathic. Psychopathic is a different category. I'm not really referring to psychopathic behavior here, because that really is a different category. But sociopathic, narcissistic, and just very selfish people, it's likely to be passive aggressive. So they're talking about your back, they're gossiping about you, they're talking behind your back, gossiping about you. They might be lying about you. They might be manipulating situations so that it casts you in a negative light. That is passive aggression. They don't have the guts or the standing to be able to talk to you and say, look, I've got this issue. Can we just clear the air? Because that's not what they're about. They don't want to clear the air. They want to stir it up in the background. So when you move into protection mode, if you've had that outburst, the chances are they're going to be very tetchy with you for the next 2-3 days. But then it will settle down, because you've put them back in their box. You've put them back in that space where you allow them to be, without moving into your hurt zone, as it were. Their ego, because you've told them, their ego is not going to like it at all. They might know deep down that what you said is correct, but they're not going to want to accept it. So it's going to take them a little while just to sort of get over that. And then you'll go back into maintaining your boundaries until you have to protect them again. There are other ways. If you have protected your boundaries more subtly, so you've maybe locked something in a room or a cupboard where they can't get access to the thing that they abuse, or you've changed the password on your phone so they can't keep getting in and having a look, or you've locked your wallet somewhere safe so they can't use your card without your permission, all these sorts of things. And those are quite extreme types of toxic behavior, but they do go on a lot more than you might think. When something like that happens and you've been quite subtle about it, they are then going to be quite subtle in their approach to getting back at you. So, the insinuations will start, the manipulation will start, the gossip about you will start, the lying about you, because if there's nothing to gossip about, they will make it up, because they have to make themselves feel more important than you are, because this all sort of comes from a lack of self-esteem, really, is deep down. And it's the ego just trying to protect itself, but it just goes about doing it in a really, really bad way. And then you end up protecting your boundaries. And again, that will move back into maintenance mode eventually. And then you're going to go from maintenance for a while, protection, maintenance for a while, protection, maintenance while, protection. Well, my question to you is, how long do you want to keep that charade up? When you have protected your boundaries, they are going to make you feel like it's your fault, but it's not. And you have to understand that. It's not your fault. There is nothing wrong in protecting your boundaries. It's really important that you have a good sense of what your boundaries are. What will you accept and what won't you accept? And the stuff that you will not accept, protect it. And if they are not going to abide by those rules that you set for yourself, well, then you may have to consider separating that relationship, whether it's a partner, whether it's a family member, whether it's a really good friend who's just been one of those really good friends. I've had a couple of those that have gone on for years and years and years, and all they do is take. They're like an energy vortex, and somehow you just can't get away from them. Sometimes you might need to move, geographical location, change, but whatever it is, just ask yourself, what is the long-term cost of having this relationship as an ongoing thing? If they are not willing to go and get help, because there's help out there. I'm a psychotherapist. I help people with things like that. There are loads of people out there that can help people who have sociopathic problems, narcissistic problems, although narcissists are really hard to deal with because they don't think they've got the problem, they think everybody else has. And often a narcissist will absolutely refuse point blank to go and get therapy. It's a very, very difficult type of individual to deal with. And even if they've been forced to go for therapy, say through the prison service or something like that, the chances are they are not going to want to accept that the blame falls on those shoulders. And this isn't about appointing blame, it's about protecting your boundaries, but giving you the sort of life that you feel you can flourish and thrive in, rather than a life where you wake up just weighted down every single day or regularly because of these toxic relationships you might have. So do consider the cost to you long term, because nobody should have to be put through that sort of situation where you are in, your energy is just consistently being drained, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, year in, decade in. It happens. And I think it's very easy for us to get used to feeling that way and for dealing with that sort of a situation. But just know that you can choose to free yourself from it. You can. If they are not willing to get help, and if it's a child you're talking about, no, you have a duty of care, but I'm talking about adults here. You have the right to have a life which is toxin free. You do not have to accept maybe what you're currently accepting, or flavors or colors of what you're currently accepting. And if you're happy to accept it, then great, good. That's absolutely fine. That's part and parcel of your boundary maintenance, I suppose. But there are a lot of people out there, and I think it is so easy to think, oh, well, this is just my life. Yeah, but you can change it. You really can change it. We have one life. I was writing a post in my Fit Club, or a comment in my Fit Club today about, it was about gratitude actually. And when my dad was dying of cancer, I mean, he always loved nature. He loved being outside. And he used to spend countless hours sat in the garden, just listening to the birds and feeling the breeze on his skin, the sun, the warmth of the sun, touching the grass, looking at the bark on the trees, looking at the soil, watching, the worms coming out, watching the little grubs crawl around the soil, which so many of us just don't notice because we're too busy living our lives. But Dad's time was limited. He knew he was going to die of his cancer, and he just embraced every second that he had because he knew it wasn't going to last for long. Whew. And sorry, didn't mean to get too emotional on that one. But when we know time is finite, when we know that our lives they're a gift. The gift of life is something so special. And if you're listening to this now, you have that gift of life. live it, embrace it, be grateful for everything that we have. I know all of us want, and I think we should want to keep progressing. We should want to keep building on what we've created. We should want to leave a legacy. We should want to contribute. That's all good stuff. But what we shouldn't be doing is living our life with this invisible lead weight that's holding us back or pushing us down on such a consistent level that it's having a negative effect on your health, both your mental, spiritual, emotional, physical health, because it does. So just know that if you do have regular happenings, goings on, interactions with somebody who is incredibly toxic and negative to your life, maintain it, protect it, and if they're not going to respect your maintenance and protection long term, change it. I hope that helped.